British Chamber of Commerce webinar organized by the Digital Technology Committee. So we're very fortunate here to have with us Martin Kitching, who is the CEO and founder of one of the most exciting new members of the British Chamber of Commerce. So his company, Elocate, is on the cutting edge of technology, especially as it relates to the Internet of Things, affecting smart cities, smart buildings. These are words that you've probably heard used an awful lot over the last few years, but what do they actually mean? So Martin's with us today to give us an introduction to not only what these concepts mean, but how these technologies are going to evolve over the coming years to affect all of us, both in our personal lives and in our business lives. So if you have any questions during Martin's presentation, please leave them in the question box, and we'll also be open for a Q&A afterwards. So without further ado, over to you, Martin.
Right, so thank you very much for the introduction, David, and also thank you to the British Chamber and Greg for giving me the opportunity to present today. So I'll go across to my slides with so I hope everyone can see the presentation. So to introduce, so today we're talking about how IoT is powering the future of home appliances, logistics, and smart cities. So as David gave a very good introduction, so my name is Martin Kitching, founder of CEO and founder of Elocate. Up till recently, I was Vice President of Operations for one of the world's largest RFID and IoT businesses, which basically give me a very good insight into the industry. Prior to that, I'm coming from basically automotive and white goods, from a general management and operational excellence position. So not only within the Internet of Things, but more practical users of the IoT and evolution of the Internet of Things. And why we created Elocate, putting together the pain points that as an MD for over 15 years I've experienced within my career, and then learning the technology that's actually out there on the market and how this technology can address current pain points for many businesses, for many companies worldwide. And we then created Elocate to address and find solutions to many of these pain points. So Elocate itself is a British company with locations in UK, Czech Republic, and Thailand, with most of the manufacturing basically done here in Thailand itself. We're a business focused predominantly on smart factory and smart city solutions. However, that's evolving daily, as so is the technology. Our products include LoRa devices, which I will explain a little later. And this includes tags, bands, sensor nodes, gateways, and also custom products. Consumer products that we're now bringing to market also include Wi-Fi, GPS, ultra-wideband, and RFID devices, which help to monitor and control air quality, COVID access control, infinite energy tags, and custom-made devices. One of the ones that we're really proud of and is our infinite energy solution. So we have now patent pending infinite energy technology that will soon be used by one of the UK's largest bike retailers with unique GPS tracking devices. Other successes that we've achieved during our short life is basically redesigning technology for clients where customers have come to us with their products and their pain points, and we've redesigned their technology to bring them into more an IoT domain. So taking basically analog devices and transforming them into data-driven devices that allow internet connection for marketing information, for detailed running, utilization of equipment that clients are supplying into the consumer market. And other special products that we've developed for clients include special gateways that connect to existing complex HVAC and utility systems that currently are not readily available on the market. So this is just a quick overview of Elocate ourselves. So going into IoT and IoT powering the future. So the Internet of Things. This describes the network of physical objects and things that are embedded with sensors, software, and other technology for the purpose of connecting and exchanging data with other devices over the internet. Now, IoT is a huge market, estimated at over $2 trillion today. So too complex to cover within a 20-minute discussion. So today's focus will be on devices, things related to smart cities, smart homes, and smart logistics. So, smart city. Smart city devices are devices used for sensoring, monitoring, and controlling, aimed at efficiently operation of infrastructure, transportation, utilities. These devices then include water quality, air quality, traffic, people, goods, advertisement, land registry, agriculture, security, medical, and much, much more. For smart homes, this includes security systems, energy systems, heating control, air conditioning control, lighting, appliances, irrigation, entertainment, and again, much, much more arriving daily. Smart logistics, this includes also tags, readers, scanners, transceivers, gateways, automated guided vehicles for automated logistics warehousing, pick and place, asset tracking, inventory control and automated replenishment, fuel consumption, real-time goods tracking, and again, much, much more. Now, to give you an insight into these markets themselves. So the smart city market itself from 2020 to 2026 is expected to grow from $740 billion to over $2 trillion within the next 6 years. During the same period, smart homes will increase from 75 billion to 335 billion, and smart logistics will increase from 17 billion to 46 billion. So all significantly growing over the next 6 years. Most cities are now using an increased number of IoT platforms and devices to monitor city infrastructure, managing traffic flow, parking, to also water and air quality. And as I will explain later, there's a huge demand coming to every city over the next years for these type of devices. For smart homes in 2022, over 450 million devices are expected to be sold, with two main products ranges dominating this market: smart speakers and home monitoring and security. For smart logistics devices, also known as digital logistics market, this is a market that's dominated predominantly by IoT connecting devices at the moment. However, this is expected to change with automation, location, and energy devices responsible for a lot of the growth in this market. The IoT device trends. So urbanization, so this is the population within cities, currently is 54%. This is expected to grow to 67%. Urban population, so number of people living within cities, currently globally is 3.3 billion. This will grow to 5.6 billion over this time period. We'll also see that regionally, that smart city growth will impact predominantly China, India, and Southeast Asia, as most of the urbanization will happen in these regions. Smart home growth regions will predominantly focus on North America and Europe. And for smart logistics growth regions, also North America and Europe will also be the main focus for the growth in these regions. So key information of why this is happening. So most of the urbanization will occur in China and India and most of Southeast Asia. So this region will see the biggest challenges to improve infrastructure, service, utilities, security, transportation, and more importantly, health, with modern and intelligent devices and solutions. Things like air pollution and other issues will be impacting cities where smart solutions and purification methods need to be developed to make it more livable to be within more densely populated cities. Driven also by COVID and increasing political risk within the region, new trends also indicate that location, traceability, and people management will also be a key focus within the region. During the same period, smart home growth is expected within North America and Europe, where increases in pollution, energy costs, and crime will increase the demand on smart home devices that will intelligently manage air quality, water quality, heating, air conditioning, home security, and location tracking. And for logistics, increasing fixed costs, labor costs, fuel prices, also rent costs and other fixed costs are expected to increase during this period. And with a combination of increased higher competition, higher pressures on price, logistics providers will need to focus more greatly on automation, energy savings, and location tracking to support continuous cost reductions within their organizations to ensure they maintain market share. Now, the challenge that's facing most of these devices, and going into what's the challenges going forward and what devices are coming to the market that's going to address these challenges, I'm focusing mainly on 4 of the key challenges that I see. But IoT is a huge industry where you have many, many devices and different challenges. So I'm only focusing on 4 here. The first is power. And within IoT devices, one of the biggest problems facing IoT devices is battery power. That a lot of IoT devices are reliant on battery, and IoT devices do not go a long time without needing to be recharged. There are technologies that's now available that help to reduce battery consumption, such as BLE, but in real-time monitoring environments where a beacon is predominantly running real time, then battery consumption is very high and devices do not last long. Security access will also be a key challenge going forward, and with recent COVID or current COVID issues, then not only is people security going to be an issue going forward, but also issues regarding viruses and health are also going to bring new aspects to security access. Connectivity, so connectivity is also a challenge and something that I can relate to on several projects that we've done recently, where connecting to standard connections through SIM 4G networks isn't consistent enough to run real-time data into real-time monitoring systems. So you do experience a lot of connectivity issues with standard network providers, which means for a lot of IoT devices, this creates a big problem with running real-time data and making real-time decision-making when connection is lost and it's unable to get the data that decision-making is required for. And then the final aspect is cost. So cost, as a lot of IoT devices are new to market, then cost is currently quite high. So we were talking to a company yesterday speaking about air quality devices, which we can see are something like 3 to 5 times more expensive than you would expect to see the device within the next 3 years. Now, technology that's coming into the market that we see that's going to really transform the market and bring new dimensions to the market. The first is solutions to power and IoT. So now some companies have created a diamond encapsulation of nuclear waste that allows small IoT devices to be powered up to 20 to 40-year life. So this really brings a brand new dimension to power and IoT devices, but of your hand to generate electricity. We also see an evolution in existing kinetic energy technology. And this isn't just with the standard Seiko type pendulum kinetic energy. We also see that there's also chemical kinetic energy, material kinetic energy devices that's existing now that evolve and increase the number of applications you can use kinetic energy within devices on. And also being developed by a lot of companies at the moment is also harvesting radio and sound waves. So this technology is basically taking radio waves and sound waves that's all around us every single minute of our lives, and basically taking that energy and harvesting it to create IoT power to power small devices. Maybe in the future, this technology will increase to bigger devices, but within the next 5 years, I see this more as small IoT devices. But this brings a unique energy harvesting that basically is completely free and all around us every day. IoT security, so we see security will also evolve. So we see with COVID that most door access systems have a fingerprint scanner. With COVID, nobody wants to put their finger onto a scanner that somebody else has also scanned. So it means that those devices will start to become redundant as people are nervous about touching. So more contactless devices will emerge. And we see this especially in door access control, in banking sectors, credit card markets, door access markets, where biometric fingerprint and also facial entry is becoming a lot more popular and a lot more in demand. We also see that health is going to be a real focus, where preventing potential viruses or sick people into buildings is going to become more prominent and more integrated within the standard products. Retinal access is also going to become a lot more used. So we do see retinal devices more and more coming to market. Again, it's expensive today, but within the next 5 years, we expect this retinal technology to really significantly come down in price and give a new access to door entry. And the final one for security, we see virtual location. So the technology now exists where you can actually scan an entire building using 3D scanners, virtually put that into a digital environment, and then place all location tracking devices, all equipment that's being monitored within that facility, everything within a virtual model, which allows you to go into a virtual building and see the real-time location of any person, any device, the status of that device, the current climate environment within a specific room. So this basically brings us really into a more digital environment. Staying connected, so there's two evolutions I see within the industry that are moving very, very quickly. So we see recently that both NXP, Tesla, Apple, and Samsung are looking to replace Bluetooth with ultra-wideband. So you see the new tags launched by all companies, which basically ultra-wideband, which is operating on a multi-frequency range, means that it's less disrupted and distorted by other signals, by objects, by bodies. So it provides a lot more accuracy and a lot better location of any device, asset, person, pet, any type of object. But what this will also do is, due to the security protocols within ultra-wideband, which makes it a lot harder to hack, means that also for door entry for cars and other high-value goods, such as also door entry for your house, ultra-wideband will become more commonly used. The other technology is LoRa. So this is low energy, long range, open band. So we now see that the satellites orbiting the Earth with LoRa technology. And we also see that there's governments that are now seriously considering basically converting old radio towers to LoRa transceivers, which would effectively give you a nationwide open band long range communication protocol, which would be perfect for messaging, for alerts, for low data type systems, but also for logistics. This would open up a unique opportunity for really low cost product and vehicle tracking that doesn't require any SIM or any contract-based system, that will be completely open band. So this means that over the next years, we will see that all IoT devices will come down in price due to increased technology and increased competition. We already see in the market that sensor costs have fallen significantly. So from 2004 to 2018, we've seen an average sensor price drop from $1.30 to 44 cents. And market leaders, even companies such as Microsoft, Schneider, and Honeywell, all predicting that this will continue to drop over the next years and make sensor and sensor-driven technology a lot cheaper and more accessible for any application. New technology options will also support cost reductions by reducing infrastructure costs and mesh technology options, which results in devices being connected to less infrastructure. So for example, another conversation I had with several companies over the last days is regarding technologies like BLE, so Bluetooth Low Energy devices, and the requiring of many, many beacons and high cost devices to connect to the beacons, which makes infrastructure costs quite expensive. But with other technologies now coming into the market, technology that we're currently looking at with LoRa at the moment, we're able to connect temperature, humidity, and all sensoring within a facility using LoRa, but also connect location of people and other types of connection to the same mesh network, which means it becomes very, very low cost for any company to basically implement a full IoT network within their business with very little infrastructure costs and with multiple options of devices being able to connect to the same infrastructure. And as I said, with companies also looking to adopt these type of technologies nationally, then it's really going to mean the options for companies going forward in the future become greater and greater. So in summary, IoT will help shape the future of cities, homes, and logistics, making life easier for governments, businesses, and people. Technology is changing and improving daily. Connection options are growing and improving at a huge rate. IoT solutions are affordable today, but becoming more and more affordable with every day. And for sure, IoT is no longer a nice to have, but we see IoT is now a must-have for any business that's wanting to maintain a competitive edge. So thank you for listening, and I'm sorry I went quite quickly through a lot of complex information. I hope this was useful, and I open this up to questions.
Thank you, Martin. Very informative. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and I will make sure Martin receives them. In the meantime, Martin, thank you for that. It was a lot to absorb. But in practical terms, what in the next 3 years do you think we'll see tangibly change in this space?
So in the space, what we see in just basically the last 2 years, so if I take from experience with within RFID and connection devices within banking and door access, we see this predominantly going more contactless. We see that biometric technology more integrated into standard technology to give better security, better connectivity, securing people's data and access. But energy seems to be one of the key, because to run this type of technology, then you need to harvest energy from somewhere. And unless you have a connected device, you're very much reliant on energy. So I see one of the big the next 3 years is going to be many companies now coming to market with energy-driven solutions for IoT devices. This is really going to be the big race now, is to find these energy solutions which make IoT devices usable for any application.
Okay, and we've spoken separately about this, but I think Elocate has a few of those interesting solutions to come in the coming years.
And a few patents pending at the moment that I'm not allowed to discuss until a lawyer tells me we can start publishing this.
Stay tuned, everybody, for that. That's exciting developments to come. We've got a question from Neil from Neos IT. Compared to other global markets, how does the Thailand IoT market compare to other locations that you do business in?
So compared to other businesses, I feel that underdeveloped. And I think certain things that's happened in the last year, like even with eSIM technology. So through AIS, we were in discussion several years ago with them regarding eSIM, so embedded SIM technology. And this I see recently has changed, where certain restrictions are prohibiting the eSIM devices. There's also a lot of technology and broadcasting limitations within Thailand that don't exist in other regions and other countries. And also network accessibility for GPS and other SIM or IoT devices, again, is not that well developed. So we are looking at AIS, who probably is one of the furthest in front on this at the moment. But regarding evolving other technologies and adopting LoRa and other technologies like this, then I feel Thailand is very weak and very much at the infancy of IoT.
All right, thank you for that. Next question from Kieran Taylor of PKF. He says, thank you for such an interesting presentation. How should the average office-based company approach adopting IoT? What are the most important things to get started with?
So the best start is to look at infrastructure, to look at what do you want IoT to deliver in the first 5 years to 10 years, and to look then at building your infrastructure around those goals. What we find with many clients and many businesses is once you adapt a technology or an infrastructure that has a specific connection, has a specific network protocol, then it's much harder to adapt that to other technologies in the future. So I know with a lot of building management systems we're doing with PCS at the moment, then general systems such as Daikin, Train, all have their own protocols, all have their own systems, which are very hard to connect to. The more systems like this you integrate, the harder it is to pull it all together and start to build artificial intelligence, algorithms, and other data managed systems that help you to evolve your office into a real digital environment.
Okay, thank you for that. This might be a silly question, so please stop me if I'm wrong here, but these days most people are wearing smartwatches that regulate the blood pressure, the heartbeat, things like that, the steps per day. Does this count as IoT technology?
Yes, it's still sensoring. So still, it's a sensoring device that's got embedded sensoring technology which connects to the internet. So yes, it's still an IoT device. It normally falls under home devices within the IoT market, and sometimes under the smart city. But more commonly, these devices are also going into smart buildings and smart factories at the moment, also with added perspective of monitoring COVID and monitoring location of people within a facility, and also managing the health of people. So early warning devices for lone man working is one application we've seen recently, where you need one person working in a warehouse. And if that person has an injury for 8 hours, they could be basically lying, waiting for help that's not coming. So there's a lot of good applications that's coming within industry for the same devices.
Okay, so I think everyone can imagine what the smart watch looks like. So is this kind of data that we're going to be getting on energy levels and, as you said, logistics, employees? This is the future then. So really heavy data that we can incorporate and minimize the fat on our processes. So really understand in depth exactly what's happening in our buildings, in our organizations, in our countries even.
Yeah, and as I said, it's with also the recent COVID and political unrest, this data is going to become more and more utilized by also governments and other, let's say, marketing companies and other industries for not exactly the purposes that we want. So there's going to be so much data, and one of the big apprehensions, I think, for all of us is how that data is used, where that data is going, and what that data could be used for in the future. We know that with simple RFID cards, you can, with a smartphone now, I can copy people's credit cards. I can hack into somebody's credit card and access all their information, and then use it to go online and buy stupid amounts of goods. So now there's companies that have developed what's called mute cards, RFID jamming cards that go in your wallet to protect people from smartphones being able to copy standard banking cards. So this is going to drive a lot of people to more phone, like prompt pay, payment systems direct by phone, because bank cards and what is classed as, let's say, normally safe devices, safe connections are not now safe. Everything can be hackable.
Wow. Okay, well, on that grim note, thank you, Martin, for your time this morning. It's been really insightful for all of us here today, and I think, would you mind just giving us a quick call to action if people want to contact you? What should they do?
To contact me, so it's martin@elocate.com. Please drop any questions to me via email. I'll respond with you very, very quickly. If you require any assistance, then we're more than happy to help anyone with their IoT challenges and applications. So thank you, David, again for the opportunity and for the time today, and thank you everyone for listening. Oh,
sorry, there's a couple more questions just come in.
All right, sorry.
Many for the answer. So first one, well, this is the epilogue then. So how has IoT, you mentioned RFID or other IoT devices are still pretty costly, and thus the ROI is generated, generally an important decision factor. How do you see this trend in the future, and what are your customers seeing in terms of return on investment?
So this is a very good question. So ROI is, I mean, for me as a previous MD, I always looked at the ROI. If there was no ROI, I would never approve the CapEx for such an installation or involvement unless it had a payback. What we see is there's different both schemes and low-cost devices that's now available in the market, infrastructures that can be done more cost effectively. And one thing we do in particular is renting our devices. So we're actually, to make this more cost effective to people and more accessible, we're actually renting our devices over 3 to 5 years to allow people more access to leading cutting edge technology that can be adopted very quickly with very low ROI, and making it more accessible to any type of business.
All right, thank you. All right, this really is the final question now. So what potential does IoT have to help or facilitate the hospitality sector during the pandemic or in the post-pandemic new world?
So one is that for COVID entry, so you see, and we also have a product coming to market for exactly this purpose, is basically thermal imaging. We restrict people to the hotels, to restaurants, better access control by thermal imaging of people coming into the facility. This technology is relatively cheap, and you can attach this to door entry, to turnstiles. This technology is also being adapted into facial recognition systems. So this is becoming greater use. We see also with IoT that the use of cards is becoming less and less in demand. So more people within basically hospitality, within door access, basically changing to mobile phones, where we see that a lot of hotel groups worldwide are giving door access through their application to a mobile phone. So then there's no more reception. You basically have your access. You have that to your phone. You go to a kiosk on entry and you go to your door and your door automatically opens with your phone. So no cards. So we see this technology going, and we know this from my previous company, the door access control devices were becoming less and less in demand as more telephone applications are taking over.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you, Martin. So if any of you are interested in learning more about this or potentially seeing how the technologies that Martin's working with can help your business, Elocate is a really exciting company. And Martin is a true expert in the field. So thank you, Martin, for your time. Thank you, everybody who dialed in. And thank you to the British Chamber of Commerce for helping organize this event. We'll see you at the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.